So, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to 30 Minutes with a Guru. And here with me, I have Dr. Sandra Palmer. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Dr. Sandra. Can you please introduce yourself, ma'am?
Oh, thank you for having me. It's
Yeah,
really a pleasure to be here.
thank you very much.
So happy to talk to you today.
Yeah, it's great.
So let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Sandra. That's what everybody calls me, Dr. Sandra.
Yeah,
And I have been in this space called business consulting and staffing and recruiting for quite a while.
okay.
But a little background to that. I have been one of those persons who have straddled academia
Mm,
and industry for probably most of my career until maybe 2 years ago. So I was a business professor for
okay.
many, many years, longer than I care to say. At the graduate level, I've taught hundreds of master's students
Wow,
in
wow,
MBA classes.
wow.
I taught a little bit at the bachelor's level, and a
Okay.
very long time ago, I taught high school.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
I've always had a love for teaching, and that
okay.
carried over into consulting. And of course, we continue to share the knowledge.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. The next question I was about to ask was, tell us a little bit about your business background. And you basically gave me that, like, you've been a teacher, you've taught, and then now you follow your passion into business. Okay.
So let's talk about the business side.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay. Please, let's talk about that, please.
Yes. So as I said, we have always straddled both sides. So on
Yeah.
the business side, very interesting. I've done quite a few things. So
Okay.
I actually had a matchmaking business for the affluent.
Okay. That's
Yes,
interesting.
called Exclusive Soulmates.
Wow.
About a decade ago. I
Wow.
also had an automotive collision repair business. I had a
that's
trucking
that's
business.
interesting. That's
I had an information technology company where we actually sold computer hardware, software, and solutions.
wow.
For a very long time, we even represented IBM in the Caribbean and
Wow.
HP
Wow.
and some other names.
Wow.
Yes. And now I am in the consulting
Consulting
and the
business.
recruiting business.
Wow.
And we are about to launch on August 1 our e-learning platform, Sanctuary.
Okay.
Sanctuary Professional Development Institute,
Wow.
which is an online e-learning
Learning.
portal
Oh,
for professionals who want to do certificate courses to
okay.
advance themselves for the next job, the next promotion. So those are the businesses that I have been involved in
Okay.
over the years, quite a
Okay.
bit.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of experience. All those years of experience. I wish we could pack it in like this 30 minutes discussion, but we try our best. But it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, um, the experience and you in our last discussion you talked about how you came from Jamaica. I don't know how to pronounce it, Jamaica, right? And then you moved into the US. And how was that like for you, the transitioning from one location to the other as a business person that you are? And
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so we started in Kingston, Jamaica. A business started back in 1994, before I even came on board in this particular business, which is above or beyond. And in 2017, I decided that it was time to expand the market.
Okay.
Jamaica is small, the Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
is small,
Yeah, yeah.
and to the north of us was Florida with 22, 23 million persons.
Yeah.
And we thought that it would be a good opportunity to expand in that market. And so
Okay.
I became CEO in 2016, and we opened our first office in Miramar, Florida in 2017, and we have been growing the business since. Oh, what was that like? That was a university in and of itself.
Okay.
nothing really prepared me for
Yeah.
that. It was a brand new world. Everything was different. The culture
Wow.
was different. The way people did business was different. And thinking about coming from a small island state,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no friends, contacts, I really didn't
And
know
the
anyone,
US, yeah.
and building a network from scratch.
Wow.
You really had to get out there. And I physically moved in 2021. So before I was going back and forth,
Forth.
physically moved in 2021. And guess what? That was COVID going on at that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
so,
That's right. That's
so
right.
that
So
made it even
nothing
a
was.
bit more challenging.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. Okay. That's very interesting. Okay. So now you are the CEO of Above and Beyond, and you are also a business consultant, and you basically own a podcast, and your content is also on YouTube. So now your podcast, I listened to a couple of the stuff that you put out there. What is the drive behind your podcast? What are you hoping to achieve? With that podcast, do you want to help businesses grow? Do you want to give businesses insights to things that they don't really understand? Because um, I've like listened to a couple of your podcasts, and so like the mindset with some stuff for talking about the mindset, right? The mindset of a business owner. So why do you do the podcast?
Okay, excellent question. Um, the podcast started, it started as a radio show. So I
Okay.
was doing a radio show, and then I thought, okay, for doing a radio show, why not just use the content for a podcast as well? So it didn't start as a podcast. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole idea behind it was really to create content for persons who were looking for information, people who were running businesses, people who were leaders, maybe they were entrepreneurs in their
Mm-hmm.
organizations. So, an entrepreneur is someone who has the mindset of an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not your own business. You're actually
Mm-hmm.
running somebody else's business and using their resources, but the mindset is actually the
Yes.
same.
Yeah.
And so, it was to provide information because it's a lonely journey. It can be a
Yeah.
lonely journey at the top. And I
Yeah.
always say, even if it's at the top of something small or large, it can be quite lonely. And so it was to provide information on different topics. I mean, the topics are all over the place. I mean, we talk about staff, we talk about organizational culture, we talk about strategy, I mean, we talk about planning. We
Yeah.
really get into it each week to talk about something that would be important to a
Mm-hmm.
business owner. So it supports the brand.
Mm-hmm.
It's good marketing for the brand
Yeah.
and to create awareness for who we are as an organization.
Okay. Okay. And I would like to say that it's worth a lot of money in business consultancy. Like there are a lot of people out there. What I mean is that a lot of people out there that are actually looking for business advice, and they go out to people, they pay people for all this business advice, and then you can just come on your podcast and listen to these things and gain valuable insights. So that's really, really nice. Okay, so now talking about a couple of things that you talk about on your podcast, right? You talk about building a business is one of the major things about building a business is having the right scalable product. Now, how can a business understand if a product or a service is scalable? Do you understand the
Okay.
question? Yeah.
Yeah. So before you get into business, I always say that you don't want to necessarily start a business by just turning a hobby something that you love and trying to commercialize it. Because that could be challenging. It may work or it may not work. I always advise that what needs to happen is that as the business person, as the entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you want to ensure that you are testing the market and you're making sure you're doing your research to know for sure that there is a need for this product or there's a need for the service and that that market or industry is actually growing,
Okay.
because you can't scale something if there is no demand for it. That's one of the reasons why businesses fail. Is there demand for what it is that you're bringing to the market? And another thing, in order to scale a business, you are going to need to put the processes in place to scale,
To
the
scale.
team in place to scale, and the finances to be able to scale.
Okay.
So those are some of the considerations for
Okay.
scaling.
So finances, the
So
team.
not every business is scalable.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to understand the finances, the team, whether the business is going to be something that is actually a growing business, a growing industry. So yeah, those are the important things about scaling the business. Now, because of our time, I don't want to go too deep because it is deep. It's actually very deep. If you say that, okay, well, let's start talking about finding the right industry and everything. But okay, another question. We also talk about mindset, the mindset of a business owner. Now, what type of mindset? Because there are a lot of people out there saying you should keep trying even if it doesn't seem like it's working, right? But what type of mindset should a business owner have for a business that is not working, for a business that is slow? Maybe it's scalable, maybe it's not. Maybe there are external reasons, internal reasons that the business is not just working, it's not just growing, it's not just scaling. What is the mindset, or what is the mindset shift that the business owner should have?
Okay, oh, that's an excellent question. I think that business owners, there must be a balance between being pragmatic, which is being a realist, and also being idealistic, which is to dream and to hope. But I'll preface that by saying hope is not a strategy. There's no business strategy called hope. And so if the business is faltering or failing, it hasn't failed as yet, but you're not getting the results that you anticipated, then you must stop, you must check, you must review, you must research, you must dig deep to find out what's going wrong, what's not working, and you need to change what is not working. So you can't be slavish to your plans. You can't be slavish to your ideas, because a lot of change is happening internally and externally at the same time, and you have to pay attention to that. Now, that's a whole other conversation to go into.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is that you have to have a growth mindset. You also have to be willing to fail and fail quickly. I call it failing fast, failing forward,
Moving
intelligent
forward.
failure, learning from failure. Pick yourself up and go again. Don't beat a dead horse. If a horse is dead, it's crazy to continue to flog that horse. You need to dismount and get a new horse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. That's interesting. That's actually very interesting. And you mentioned something about working on the business, checking and doing your research and everything. And there's this thing that a lot of business owners, even I myself, get confused or get stuck in, which is working in your business instead of on your business, right? You know, doing the work that your business needs to function, or doing the work that your business needs to scale, right? So how can somebody a business get out of that working in your business and start actually working on your business? Because it's when you start working on your business that your business actually grows, right? That's how I understand it. So how can a business owner or a business get out of that mindset, get out of that trap?
Yes. Okay. So I always say that, having a business and nobody is running the business, nobody is managing from 300 feet above. and you are just busy in the business. It's like the water coming in the Titanic and everybody's busy bailing out water, and there is no captain, there is nobody in charge. Because the fact of the matter is that actually it's better to have a job where you get paid vacation and you
Mhm.
can call in sick and you have a paycheck guaranteed, as against struggling in a business where you're literally working for yourself and it's not advancing. And I think it starts with planning. You have to have a plan as to where you want to take the business. If you don't necessarily want to grow and you just want to have a, maybe it's just a gig, then that's fine. But entrepreneurship is really seizing an opportunity and creating an opportunity, not for yourself, but also for others. And if that is the mindset, then you have to be working on the business, which means you must have other persons who you can delegate to. When you just start, yes, you are going to be involved in a lot of things, right, as
Definitely.
a startup. But
Yeah.
as the business grows, it's impossible for you to have your hands in everything
Mhm.
because you are now going to be the bottleneck.
Mhm.
And there's so much you don't know. You cannot be an expert in everything.
Yeah,
So you
definitely.
have to get the talent, give them the reign and the autonomy to do their jobs, and you manage the process and focus on strategy. It won't happen on day one, but that's the thinking that you need to have.
All right, all right, okay. Thank you very much for that. Uh, you know, it's that is important for me too because I'm also thinking about something here as a business. There are some times when there are lots of things going on. There are lots of things going on, especially if you are a startup, you're a young business owner, you're just starting and everything. You know, how important is it for a business to stop what they are doing, like to pause for a while? Because there's this thing that you always have to keep going, you always have to keep going. You can't, you shouldn't stop. But I find out that if you just keep going, doing something, and you are not able to get what you have and actually manage it, restructure it to actually be something, you get stuck. So, what's how important is this for a business to re-strategize, pause and re-strategize?
Mhm. It is very important because you can be very busy,
Mm-hmm.
you can be very busy, and you're not achieving
Anything.
the goals that you set out to achieve. And what's the point of that, right? So my suggestion is that reflecting on what you're doing, reflecting on the business is an imperative. It's not something that's optional, it's an imperative. Because how are you? You have to reflect to see what's working, what's not working, what do I need to change, what do I need to tweak. Or probably you may have to abandon that idea or that business totally. So many people failed in business before they succeeded. Sometimes you don't hear about the failures, we only hear about the successes.
Successes, yeah.
Yes, and it gives us a false narrative thinking that the first idea is probably going to be successful. Maybe not, maybe not. So you have to reflect and you have to assess how things are going. Look at where you want to go and where you are. Look at the gaps. What do I need to change? What do I need to do differently? Maybe your thinking has to change because sometimes it's our thinking that's holding us back. And get the help that you need.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, one more question about businesses. How do you get the best thing that you can? Like, how do you get people to work for you with you, your team? How do you get your partners, that can align with your goal? Because especially here from where I am, everybody is doing their own thing. Everybody's trying to feed themselves, feed their family. And you are a startup, you are looking for just people that can just share your dreams, so that you guys can work together and get something. I know both of you have to be giving 100% because you are partners, but everybody else is doing their own thing. So how can you get somebody that can actually align with your goals and actually work together with you?
Yeah, Yeah, it is said that if you want to go far, it's best to go with others. And you want to work with persons, you want persons on your team who are aligned with you,
Mm-hmm.
your values,
Mm-hmm.
the type of person you are. You also want persons who are committed. Now, how do you get that? As a business owner or an aspiring entrepreneur or an established entrepreneur, you have to establish value, trust, and persons have to believe in you. Why should somebody want to follow you? Why should they believe in your dream? Why should they help you to achieve your dream? And I always say that one way to make sure that you accomplish what you want is to help others accomplish what
That's what
they
they
want.
want.
So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
there is alignment between what they want and you want, I think you have ticked that box. It
Okay.
cannot just be about you, right? Even if it's not partners, if it's staff, it's vendors, contractors, people must feel that they are
Mm-hmm.
part of this thing, something that's bigger than themselves. There is a purpose, a mission, a vision that's bigger than just making the next buck. And I think that comes down to the vision as the CEO or the entrepreneur. It also comes down to the culture that you want to create. And a lot of that is going to have to do with you as a business
As a
owner.
businessman.
Not everybody is going to work out, and you
Mm-hmm.
will have to terminate many persons on that journey. And don't be afraid. I always say when it comes to employees, business partners, and so on, take your time to make a decision. Slow decision making, but when it's not working, make a very quick decision. So I say hire slow, onboard slowly, and fire fast.
Okay, that's a lot. Thank you very much for that. All right, so I'm going to go into a little bit my field. That's websites, and I'm a web solution expert. So I'm just going to go a little bit into that. Now, what is the importance of a website for a business? Right? What is the importance? What's the importance of the website, and what does a website actually do for a business? If it is important, what does it do that helps the business? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. The website is so important. It's your address. It's your address in the cloud. I mean, if you don't have a website, I think you're shooting yourself in the foot, because once you want to do business with anyone, the first thing you want to do, if you have an idea, if you're looking for a product, you're looking for a service, the first thing you do, you go online and you start checking to see who offers the service, and you're going to their website. Yes, you may look
Mm-hmm.
at other things, but the website is important. It's like that place where you have hung up your, as we would say, that you have hung up your sign for the world to see that you're in business, and they can come there without you having to open physically and talk to them and get all the information about your products and services. And that's important. And even more so if you are selling online, if you are literally have a virtual store or virtual shop. But even if that's not the case, even if it's just a website for information, it's
Sure.
extremely important.
Okay, okay, that's awful. That's really important because I do websites for people, and they're like, "Why do I need the websites and everything?" And they're like, "Oh my god, website costs this much. It's a lot." But okay, now you've established that it is important for a business to own a website, right? But there are a lot of websites out there that they don't actually help the business. They don't. Well, how I say is that it doesn't align with what the business owner wants to achieve, right? So um what is the most important feature of the website for a business? Is it booking those appointments? Is it okay, there are different types of businesses. There are the people that sell products, there are the people that book appointments, that book meetings and everything. But apart from just that, like, what are the, for example, your above and beyond, I checked their website and everything. What is the important part of that website for you that does the most work for you?
Okay, good question. So I think what's important about the website is it should reflect the brand, the essence of the brand. It should align with what that business is all about. So you have some businesses that are, more fun, probably more informal. Some are a lot more formal. And so I think the website, when you actually go to that homepage, it kind of it gives you a sense of what that business is about, the color scheme, the way things are laid out, and the information that is there is very, very important. The user experience, how easy the site is to navigate, how easy it is to load, if there are videos, how smooth everything works, and so on. What you have in that hero section, how you use that real estate, I think is very, very important. And you want to stand out. You want to stand out in your industry. So I always say, don't try and be a copycat and be like everybody else who's in your industry. Like if you're a bank, don't make your website look like every other bank. You want to stand out. So the user experience, I think, is key, and the look and feel should align with the brand.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Sandra. It's been an awesome time with you.